I feel like we're in different spots here, Cabo. You're usually on that other side. This is interesting.
I am in the same spot
There we
as I
go.
normally am. I'm just sitting today.
No, I'm
You
talking about
definitely.
our orientation on the screen is what I'm referring to.
Oh,
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
How are we doing this fine Thursday morning? Mid-August. Can you believe it? It's already the middle of August. Cabo, so we've had these lessons in coach development, 2 weeks ago, one this week, and it was around lesson planning.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a discussion this week around somebody asking the question, how do I run a class when it's just one thing? And typically what they mean with that, with the one thing, is if it's not a Metcon that's complex, that has a bunch of movements, that's going to take, 15 or more minutes, how in the world do we make it happen with just one thing like we see on CrossFit.com, which would be like just a straight heavy day or something like that. So what's your thoughts on that? Is it possible to do a one part workout, or do we always need a couple pieces?
Not only is it possible to do it, I prefer that for sure. And I had a similar conversation with one of my calls this week as well, where we were talking about trying to, fitting so many different parts in. And oftentimes it can be easier, ironically, so stick with me for a second, can be easier as a coach to have a lot of those parts and pieces because there's not a lot of time left to do a lot of coaching. And so it's more of like group management. Just get all the things in before the end of the class. And so when you do have something that's like a single modality, like we're going to talk about today, where it's just the one piece of the workout and one movement, one exercise, it becomes a lot more challenging to fill the full hour with quality instruction and quality coaching. So it's
Right.
even more important to have a pretty solid plan going in so that you don't feel like, well, class is over. We still have 20 minutes left. What do we do? I guess we should just do like some accessory work or a cash out or something. Not that we can't do that, but there's certainly a way to really utilize that full hour with just a single modality workout.
Yeah. I've got one we'd pull up. I'd be curious to know, for anybody listening, how often do you guys have a single element in your session? How often do you guys put multiple pieces, like strength and Metcon, or some sort of like skill EMOM and Metcon versus just either a heavy day, just a regular Metcon? What's that look like? And let's get some highs out there. Good afternoon to you, Jens. Good morning to most of the rest of us. Jess, good morning. Yes, plenty of time for quality coaching. That's the point of what we want to discuss today. Intensity relative to the individual. Heavy 5-rep max back squat yesterday.
Love it.
Like, if you do that right, you don't want any part of anything else. That might be the hardest thing you can possibly do.
5-rep max back squat.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Like when you do it like a true 5-rep max or like a 5x5, where you've got 5 seriously heavy sets, that's no joke.
Yeah, because 5, the number is like just low enough to where you can still go pretty darn heavy.
Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mertz, what's up, buddy? You got Steven in the house. Mm-hmm. Following cap, that's great. Like, that gives you the ability. They more often than not, but I even find they put in like in 10 minutes, find a heavy X before it shows up in the workout, which, just to be clear with this discussion, we are not saying that one is absolutely wrong and one is absolutely right. We're just talking, we want to talk through the process of how do you make it happen if you do only have one element.
Because we've talked about before, what is the most commonly programmed workout on CrossFit.com over the years, the past, 17, 18 years? You know it.
Oh, of course I know it. And it's
put it in the chat if you guys know what that is.
Yeah, I always joke it's the day that if it pops up at your affiliate, it's your rest day, it's your off day, or it's the day you're like, why would I go into the gym to do that?
It's my off day, that's for sure. There it is, the old 5K.
The old 5K run. Who would have thought?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jen
Jen in
knows.
the house, same
I
deal.
was just talking about, look at all you guys are crushing it.
Yeah.
I was just having a conversation with my one of the owners of my gym yesterday. We were just chatting about some things, and I don't even remember why it came up, but we started talking about a 5K. And yeah, I was just like, God, I can't remember the last time I've done that workout. It's been several years, I'll tell you that much.
We had it as one of our gym benchmarks. It's been a few years now, but oddly enough, like I put it as one of our gym benchmarks, meaning we would do it 3 or 4 times throughout the year, and people got pretty fired up, and we did it pretty consistently.
That's
I
awesome.
like we had a good turnout with that, which was great. Um, let's see. We've got some good stuff here. Jens, we use heavy days once a week, a monostructural once a week, classic workouts the rest. Uh, eventually one quality day depending on the overall volume. Yeah, that's awesome. Like that's
Super
kind
classic.
of yeah, classic CrossFit.com type stuff. Steven makes mention of tasting. I think he said metal hitting those squats yesterday. Like that's the classic. Holy crap, I'm going for it feeling, which is awesome.
I tasted metal or mental.
I think it meant to be
Yeah.
metal, right? Like that's
Oh
like
my God.
when you do
Like,
Fran or when you're
yes.
working with intensity, that's the taste that you will get in
Am
your
I
mouth on
bleeding in
occasion.
my mouth? What's
Yeah,
happening?
what is happening right now? All right, so let's do this one. So since you said it, 5K run is the most frequently programmed workout on CrossFit.com. Talk us through your thought process and what you're running as far as class is concerned to make that one happen.
Well, first thing we need to do is figure out how long we're going to allot for the 5K to be completed.
Right.
That like first and foremost. And
And,
I
and what do we call that? What are we doing?
the stimulus determining the stimulus. Yeah.
Yeah. So first things first, we need to determine the stimulus of the workout, which is
Mhm.
how long is it going to take? What's the window we're going to give? How's it going to look and feel for our best athletes? Because we want to make that happen for everybody else. So go ahead,
What
continue.
so you said you program it as a benchmark, and for a while you were doing it a few times a year. Did you I have two questions. Number one, what stimulus did you use? And did you change it like as you ran the workout and kind of adjusted things for the next time that you planned your benchmark?
So stimulus that we want. I look at this and it's like, all right, you try to determine how long something's going to take. And so what I ideally wanted to see, I figured our best athletes were going to be able to run this thing in somewhere around 7-minute miles, right? So just north of 21, 23 minutes, something like that. So 25 or less for some of our best athletes. Um, that means that I was ideally looking for probably just a little bit past that, like 9-minute miles for the average folks, which gets
Mhm.
me to 27 for the 3 miles. Obviously, it's a little bit more than 3 miles, so that's 30. So I think we were a lot in like 35 minutes is
Okay.
what we wanted the window to be. And so we went with that and stuck with it. Typically, when we go with benchmarks that we're going to repeat, we want to be able to repeat it the way that we did it the first time during the year. And so we don't usually change what we want the stimulus to be to answer that part.
Great. Great.
Yep.
Yeah, and I love that too because that gives enough wiggle room. There's enough of a like a range to get a lot of people within that time domain and still being able to check the box on that.
So keep going. So and I'll be honest with you, this one running as a single element class is going to be relatively simple because I
Uh-huh.
just told you it's like we got 35 minutes worth of quote unquote workout time. When we think about our napkin timeline, we chop off 10 minutes at the back end for our cool down. So that's already 45 minutes worth of our class, our 60-minute session. I've got my 3-minute whiteboard brief that gets me to 48 minutes. I've got a general, and this would be one. Let me actually, so 48. So that means we got 12 minutes before we start the workout. What do you do with those 12 minutes, Cabo?
Well, I am going to warm people up for the run. I mean, straight up, like that's what we're going to do. We'll probably do a little jog to start and then or I may not even start with a jog. I may even just start with like some running drills. You know, you've seen the drills like Chris Henshaw's made them pretty popular where it's like, we're going to, do I don't know the names of them, but we're like going to walk on our heels and we're going to walk on our toes. And then we're going to like lift I call it like lifting your foot over a baby gate, just open the hips up a little bit, little bouncies, just all those types of things to just get the body primed. And then we're probably going to, I would take them in my gym. It's like, okay, let's go outside and we're just going to do some now running drills just to get the heart rate up a little bit, to get the feet on the pavement. And yeah, just to get everybody primed to run. And honestly, that is easily going to take 12 minutes. Probably do it for 10 minutes and then give 2 minutes little break, go to the bathroom, get your little water bottle. For something like a 5K, this would be a day that's like, you guys want to put headphones in, you want to bring your music, cool, go ahead and do that. You don't let people.
I'm still making fun of you. I'll let people do it, but I'm going to give them a hard time for doing it.
Yeah,
but I also understand it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And then at that point, it's like time to go.
All right. So yeah, let's see what we've got here. We've got some good stuff.
Herding the turtles. Yes, there's one. I never know, like the little scoop thing.
Yeah, the little hamstring
I love that
scoops.
one.
Yeah, 9 minutes to warm up, coaching, running, 3-minute bathroom break. Yep. All right. So this one's pretty straightforward and simple. I don't think there's no light bulbs going off typically for this one. But let me ask you this. What if instead of the 5K run, what if this was, let's call it 7 rounds. Now let's go 6 rounds of 400-meter repeats where you're going to run another 400-meter every 4 minutes.
All right.
What does that look like?
For the record, I would prefer this workout over the 5K. So we're doing 400 and then resting, and then 400 and resting.
Yep.
Well, for starters, the first thing I would do wouldn't change. I would still figure out my stimulus and my time domain that I'm looking at. Assuming it's around the same amount of time. Is that kind of what we're assuming?
So walk me through it. Six rounds every 4 minutes. You're running.
Let me get my calculator out. Hold on. Okay. 6 rounds, 400. So we're going 6 400-meter runs.
Yes, every 4 minutes.
Every 4 minutes. Got it. Sorry, I missed that part. Okay. So, I mean, it's time priority. It makes it a little bit easier. That's 24 minutes.
Yep.
So unless I'm missing something, that's the time I'm allotting on my lesson plan.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Right. Now, what do you expect the runs to take? And then what are you going to do with the rest of the time?
Yeah. The runs are going to take under 2 minutes. That's my expectation.
Under 2 minutes. Okay. And tell me why, because we've talked about this before on this call, where it's like, usually with 400 meters in a workout, we assume 2 minutes for the 400 meters. And there's usually a little bit of wiggle room to where it's like, yeah, I'll let somebody run for 2:15, maybe even 2:30. So why do you need it to be under 2 minutes in this scenario? Why would this be different than a normal workout?
Because the stimulus of this workout is for people to sprint, to go hard, because they're resting. There should be like a work rest ratio that's about a 1-to-1, if not a little bit longer of a rest. And so every time you have that amount of time to rest, you should be able to recover to the point where we're maintaining that same speed, right? Like that same time to keep it, again, underneath that 2 minute. And yeah, Amit says 1.5 to 2 minutes. And I agree with that. So yeah, so we're briefing them to know that that's what I'm looking for. And then that'll help us scale the distance a little bit to make sure that everyone's still getting about that 2 minutes of rest.
All right. So we've got 24 minutes. That's going to be our workout time. Once again, we chop off 10 at the end for our cool down. So that's now 34 minutes. We add 3 minutes at the beginning for our whiteboard brief, which gets us to 37 minutes.
Okay.
So that gives us, I'll do the math for you, 23 more minutes now. So this one's an extra 10 minutes from the 5K, essentially for our general and specific warm up. Let's take 2 more minutes for our bathroom break right there. So let's take that straight to, we'll go 40. So now you have 20 minutes for your general warm up and your specific warm up. What are you doing?
I'd probably have them do a little more general warm up. Maybe what I would like to do, since they're doing 400 meters, is just right out of the gate a 400-meter jog, like super easy. So I like to do that if I have the time to just establish where the 400 meters is, just so that everyone's clear on like what the running route is. And then honestly, I'd still start with the little kind of running mobility drills, whatever you want to call it. And then that gives us a lot more time to go into just ramping up sprinting essentially, like we can work on, yep, exactly. Like kind of like, I like the one where you're like bouncing on the balls of your feet and you kind of lean into it and then take off a little sprint and then add a little more from there, add a little bit more from there, and just give everyone an opportunity to just get some sprinting in, because that's the stimulus of the workout, is a hard run. It's not just like you're going to go for a 5K.
All right. So, okay. So we've got a general 400-meter run as kind of the general warm-up. Then I would say that once you get into some of those Hinshaw running drills, is moving towards a more specific, right? Well, I guess continuing to kind of general warm-up there. We get into some pose running drills, which the bouncing on the balls of your feet, falling forward and trying not to break at the waist and using gravity to pull you forward. I love that. Yes, and this is where I was headed next. Is what we want to do is kind of ramp up to the speed that we are looking for. And so I love the idea here from of 80-meter sprints, where this one I'd be like, all right, let's do this first one at like 50%, and then let's get it up to 60%, 70%. Trying to get people kind of up to that speed and gradually get them there and take the opportunity to do so. So that way, if we've got 6 rounds of 400 meters, they don't use the first 2 as kind of either
a warm up,
or they don't go so hot on those first 2 and then they're completely smoked, right? So really try to build them up and get them ready for that.
Yeah. And days like this too are a great time to just incorporate some of the different things that maybe we've learned in a running course or video online, where, I was a participant in a class once where the coach did a great job. We did a drill where we like leaned up, we had our hands up against the wall and we were practicing like pulling the foot towards the butt and like the fall forward. And and so it's just a great opportunity to do some teaching of things that we typically don't have time to do in a regular class because we have other movements that we have to cover.
Yeah, and if you guys are a part of the knowledge, we've got some great running tip videos from Teffy actually in there. If you're not part of the knowledge, you should check it out. Very, very cool. We've got a question here about, would this be a good day for mobility time? And I think the answer is yes, both on the front end and on the back end. Some of those drills that you were talking about, walking on your toes and on your heels and on the sides of your feet and on the insides of your feet is a great kind of mobility warm up. I would steal and add some of the stuff that I take from Ben Patrick, the knees over toes guy, and do some calf raises and tib raises on the front end. And then Mertz makes mention like the cool down. This is one of those days where it's like, hey, bake in at least your full 10 minutes, maybe even a couple more on the back end. I'd probably, like, once we finish the 6 rounds, we would walk a 400 to cool down, and then we'd come in, and this would be the day to really get some good stretching in. Work on those calves, maybe smash the calves with a kettlebell or a foam roller, something like that, hamstrings, quads, all of that. I think those are great. Yeah, this is awesome. Use the drills. Yep. It's one of those things where I used to work on a lot, the pose running drills. I don't do it nearly as much as I used to. I should definitely get back to it. All right. So we've talked about a single monostructural day. And if we were to do rowing intervals or biking intervals, I think the story's still the same, right? There might be a little less technique work on something like the bike. There's still a ton on something like the rower, but there are some pieces there. It's unbelievable of like teaching, like how valuable teaching somebody how to set up the bike is, how to pedal, how to use the handles if you're using like an Echo or an assault bike and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it may just be prior to this class, you just find a couple, again, like you said, Todd, we've got a bunch of stuff on the knowledge, but just a quick YouTube search or going to even the CrossFit training Instagram page has a lot of stuff where you just watch, Dark Horse Rowing is great. Like all of these different places that we pull from and just watching a few minutes and having a little more information to arm you with, okay, we're going to focus on setup position, like how far forward the seat should be, how far back, what should your knee look like when you're at the bottom of the push for the bike. Like there's so many different things that we don't typically have the time to teach. And these single modality days are just a great opportunity to provide that value to our people. So they know it's like, man, all we did today were bike intervals, but I learned so much about the bike positioning that I'm going to be able to take for all the rest of the workouts we do with the bike, where we don't have time to go over all of that.
Yep. All right. So love all the comments. Everybody's got, like, I think we're all on the same page with what we're doing there with the monostructural. So I went to CrossFit.com and I looked for their most recent heavy day. And so here's what we got. Heavy day. One workout. Bench press, 2 sets of 5, 3 sets of 3, 4 sets of 1. Number 1, I love this rep scheme. This is like picture perfect, the best one. As the weight goes up, the reps go down. Like this is one of those days where I find that people are able to PR. It's like we're working some technique stuff at a heavy-ish load on those 5s and 3s, and then all of a sudden you get to the 1s and you can really go for it. I love this to be the one that we're going to talk about, because I'll be honest with you, like something like a back squat. Everybody was talking about doing the back squat from Cap yesterday, where it's like to warm up the squat and to do everything that you need to and to truly rest and recover when people are going for it, like 4 to 5 minutes in between squat sets with the back squat, if we're doing 5 reps, is like people want that and need that. Something like this, for whatever reason, our pressing movements, people don't tend to rest quite as long. They'll move through it a little bit quicker. So, and you don't feel the same way. Like your body's not going to quite feel the same way after like a shoulder press or a bench press as you would after a back squat. So talk me through your thought process on this workout.
Well,
this is all we got for the day.
The first thing that I think about is this is so great that the way the workout is written is forcing us to make sure that our athletes get those like warm up sets, working up to that heavy set of 1. But I also want to allot time for additional sets prior to that first working set of 5, because I do want that first working set of 5 to be challenging as a set of 5. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't want it to just be like, cool, we did 5. Great. I'm going to do another set of 5. I'm going to do a set of 3. Like every time they're on the bench press for one of these working sets, I want the last couple reps to feel challenging.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of it, of going down, because like, okay, cool. That second set of 5 was like, whoa, that was a heavy set of 5. Well, I can still add a little more weight on because now I only have to do 3. So of course we'll brief our people that in the whiteboard brief. So the first thing I think is, okay, we're going to have to allot a pretty good amount of time to the working sets, but I also want to make sure we have time to do the teaching and the warm-up sets as well. So I'm going to figure out how much rest I want people to have. Like, are we doing this every 3 minutes? What's the deal with the time it's going to take to get these specific sets done? And then we go from there.
So what would you go with on this one?
I'd probably go after 3 minutes.
Okay, so we've got 12 working sets. Is that 9 working sets? Sorry. 2 plus 3 is 5, and then 4. We got 9 working sets. So 9 times 3, we've got 27 minutes worth of work. And so, and I like this, like Stephen made mention, every 3 minutes a set if you're really going for it. I think we could make the argument that if you're really going for it, we probably need more true rest in this thing, but.
Well, even going every 3 minutes versus telling them to rest 3 minutes is going to be, you know what I mean? Like that. If you're really going every 3 minutes, now you're probably, when all is said and done, you're really only getting 2.5-ish minutes of rest.
And Mertz asks a good question here. And so the question is, for the stimulus, are we going for a 1 rep max or heavy throughout? And I like the fact that he's asking this, because the truth of the matter is if you're like, hey guys, I want you to find a new 1 rep max, although you just went through the process of talking about, hey, I want every single set, the last couple reps to be challenging. If somebody's truly saving for a 1 rep max attempt, they're probably going to save a little in the tank and not try to burn it out in the 5s, the 3s, and then they'll have the big jumps and go for it in the 1s. Would you agree with that?
I do. Yes, because that is exactly what I would do. I'm like, oh, I don't want to work till failure on the 5s and the 3s because I want to save some for that 1. Even though if I do it the way that I explained it a minute ago, where I am working to, like a heavy 5, a heavy 3, I don't know. I probably will just warm myself up enough to where that 1 is just going to still be a good final 1. I don't know. The bench press is hard because it's like, for me, you know what I mean? Because it's like a strict press. So once it's gone, it's kind of gone. But I think the warm up, ramp up there would be the way that I would try to do it the way that I originally said.
Okay. All right. So that's what you're going for. So
Yeah.
so are you going to go? So the approach that you want is for each one to be heavy. So it's probably going to be closer to the 70 or to 75% is where we start based on what you said to begin with. Are you going to go every 3 minutes? You going to go every 4 minutes? So that way they get roughly 3 minutes of rest. Like all of this stuff is going to be critical, because if we go every 3 minutes, then it's 27 minutes worth of, if it's every 4 minutes, then it's 36 minutes worth of work time.
Yeah. And that's a pretty big difference when you're trying to figure out your lesson plan.
So what would you go with there, Cabo?
I mean, I don't know. I'd probably go every 4 minutes. This is the only thing that we're doing today. Let's just, like, I think Steven said it earlier, bro sesh, right? That's the thing with the bench press. Let's give people some time. Let's give people some time to rest in between, figure out what their weights are. There's also, here's another element to think about. Bench press is one of the few movements that I'm requiring people to spot each other. So there, even if I've only got 8 people in the class, let's say, if it's required that you can't lift without a spotter, that's going to add a little more time, because someone just finishes a heavy set, then they have to get up, kind of, take a couple breaths, wait a second, then walk around and do the spot.
It also allows for my most favorite moment and experience in any gym environment is when we get to these last 2 or 3 sets of 1, with the athlete going for a new 1 rep max and with the person in position to spot. You get the inevitable fingers under the bar, like the guy that's bench pressing or gal is like purple. They're pressing so hard, but as soon as the spotter's hands go underneath, he somehow has the ability and the energy to say, don't touch it. I got it. Don't touch it. And then the spotter, whether he touches it or not, gives the all you bro line. And that is my all-time favorite part of bench press day.
Nothing worse than fighting through that last rep and knowing you've got it, and the spotter helps you lift it up. It's like,
just even putting it there. Why? It's just like,
why?
I almost like anytime there's a max bench, that happens at least once, and it just warms my heart every time that it does. You, bro. Anyways, all right.
Going, really quick. This was a recent conversation in at a workout that I did, and I just love that rule so much. You put your hands there, be ready, but you are not touching that bar until it starts to go the opposite way as you want it to go. If it's holding, if it's maintaining, if it's static, leave it alone. As soon as it starts to go down towards the person,
Oh, that's the best.
Love it.
All right. So you're going to go every 4 minutes. Is that what you said? So now
I'm going to go every 4 minutes. We're doing it every 4 minutes.
All right. So we're allotting 36 minutes for working sets. We're going to call it 10 minutes at the end for cool down. So now all of a sudden we're at 46. 14 minutes remaining, 3 minutes for our whiteboard brief. We've got 11 minutes left over, and this is a tricky one. We've got general warm-up, specific bench press warm-up, and you need build-up time in there too, all in 11 minutes there.
I'm going to do a general warm up.
Okay.
I'm not going to jump right into the bench press. I'll probably do something pretty straightforward. How much time do I have?
You got 11 all in on that.
Few minutes, nothing crazy. Maybe I'll set a timer. Maybe I'll do a little 4-minute AMRAP or something. Have people do maybe like get on the echo bike or something, jump rope or something like that. Some ring rows. I like to do opposite. Like if we're going to be pushing, maybe some ring rows, do a little pulling, just something like that, just to, full body, get the body primed, nothing crazy. Roxanne burpees. Yeah, that's always good. I haven't done that in so long. So fun. That's where you play the song Roxanne by the Police. And every time they say Roxanne, you do a burpee. And it's great because they don't say it very often at the beginning. So people are kind of just standing around. But if you've heard the song, by the time the midway through the song, they're just saying it over and over and over. So lots of burpees there. But yeah, let's say 4 minutes. So how much time do I have now? 4 minutes. We've done some.
You got 7
minutes left. Yeah, I think that's enough time, especially if I have the benches already set up. The J hooks are already fairly set up. Now everybody goes and grabs a bar. Fine, we get a partnered up, go grab a bar, get it. Or maybe the bars are even on the racks. I could also set that up ahead of time. That would save some time there as well. And then now I'm going to demo what it looks like, and we're going to get everyone set up. We're going to do some reps with the empty barbell, and then we're going to teach assistance like spotting. I'm going to go over that a little bit and do some warm-up sets and rock and roll. Yeah.
So it becomes pretty obvious once we discuss what our time intervals are going to be. And I think the challenge becomes on a day like this is rarely do we as coaches give our athletes, like you heard the amount of discussion that we had between, should it be 3 minutes? Should it be 4 minutes? Well, if it's every 3 minutes, well, then you don't get truly 3 minutes of rest. And like what that's boiling down to is the less time of rest we have, the less that our central nervous system gets a chance to recover and reset, and the less truly quote unquote heavy we can do it. So a lot of times the reason the question becomes like, is this it? This all we're doing? Is because sometimes our coaches will put this, or we as coaches will put that on like a 15-minute clock, right? Hey, we got 15 minutes to work up to a heavy single, or 10 minutes or 12 minutes. Or even if it's a rep scheme like this, it's like, hey, we're going to do this for 20 minutes. And all of that is fine and well. And I'm not telling you that it's bad to do that. But if you do that, and that's how we approach the heavy section of our session every single day, and we don't ever give the days where there's 3+ minutes of rest in between sets, we're never truly able to go as heavy as we possibly can. And if we're never able to go as heavy as we possibly can, it's not necessarily a strength development day. It's almost like it's more of a neurological reinforcement day. We're practicing these movements under heavy-ish loads to get more comfortable with the technique and more used to doing that. And once again, not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, certain benefit to that for sure.
Yeah,
just
there's certain
different things.
It's just different things. And so we need to know the difference between these. And it's like, hey, if we were going to put this on a 20-minute clock, and maybe there's a day and time where I will do this on a 20-minute clock, because it's like, hey, those sets of 5, I don't need I don't need them to be 75%. So I'm going to let you rest a little bit less. And I only want the big rest in between the sets of 1. Right. And so now say we put that on 20-minute clock. We've got our 10-minute cool down. That's 30. We've got our 3-minute whiteboard brief. And let's say we do the exact same, otherwise, what was it? 12-minute warm up that you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Or 11-minute warm up. That's going to still give us 15 more minutes now. And so now what could we do with that additional 15 minutes in the session? Well, could we turn it into a part B Metcon? Absolutely. A lot of times I like to do like an accessory / cash out. You made mention of doing some opposite of what we did in the lift. So if we did bench press, hey, maybe we're going to do some strict pull-ups, or we're going to do some feet elevated strict ring rows. And then sometimes I'll partner that with like push-ups or burpees to get the heart rate up, or double unders because people like to sweat. And it's like, those are all fine and well things to do. And it's perfectly appropriate to do that on occasion, but just know what we're missing when we do one versus the other. And Jen, I don't know exactly what I said right there. I blacked out a little bit, but I will take that. Hopefully we can get Kristin to clip whatever it was that I said if it was any good. So I like that.
Yeah, or Jen, throw it in the chat if you can summarize it.
Why only one movement with mini sets instead of 2 or 3 movements? So we've got a question. One thing that always puzzled me about CrossFit Heavy Days, why only one movement with mini sets instead of 2 or 3 movements, 3 sets each? Is that just a class organization issue? Well, it's kind of the same thing that we talked about before. It's like, if we, let's say, instead of doing the 9 sets of bench press that we just discussed, we did 3 sets of a bench press, and then we coupled that with a bent over row or like a pendlay row or something like that. And number one, if we're doing 3 sets, more often than not, if we see it in the gym, the rep scheme is going to be a little bit different. We're either the rep schemes are going to be bigger. I see like 7s, 8s, maybe even 10s. Or if they are a lower rep scheme, a 5, a 3, or a 1, well, there's going to be a bunch of build-up time in between this stuff. And it kind of goes to the same thing. If we are supersetting this stuff with 2 movements or 3 movements, we're probably limiting the amount of rest in between sets. And ultimately, the more we limit rest, the less we're able to allow our body to rest and recover and come back and truly hit a heavy day. Does that mean that that's, once again, is that a bad thing to do supersets with multiple movements? Absolutely not. I've had days on bench press where we've paired it with a row, and I think that's fantastic. But you're just not truly going to be hitting those high percentages typically in like a class setting. And yeah, you make the mention that you train in your garage gym, so you're not constrained, right? You've got probably, you're not limited to a 60-minute clock. You're not limited to warming up an entire group. You probably know exactly what you need to warm up for your number or for the movements that you're going to hit on that particular day. You know what your percentages are because you probably train consistently enough to know what those are. And so all of those things give you so much more freedom. It's like, cool, I've got more time to do this stuff. I've got more information because it's only on just you as an individual. And taking advantage, I know when I train on my own, like doing supersets and getting a little bit more into the session, that usually happens because I don't need as much. There's not as much teaching time. There's not as much logistics and stuff that's lost there. So
I think ultimately, if I could add something,
yeah.
One thing to just remember is, what is the point of the workout? And so if the point of the workout, for example, is to do like a 3 rep max back squat to work to a heavy set of 3, it's just a matter of, okay, if you're going to add a couple more movements to that, are you still hitting that heavy set of 3? Or is it now like, I'm at about 80% because I didn't have time to work up to that because I'm putting in these other movements as well. So, which again, none of that is wrong if you want to put in additional movements and then go 80% instead of like 100%. But just be thinking, okay, what's the point here? And can I still hit that stimulus with, changing it up a little bit?
Yeah. All right. So I feel pretty comfortable discussing the heavy days and like the pros and cons of just doing the one element, or how we can focus on the one element and still add in some accessory stuff. But let's do this. So we talked about a single modality monostructural day, a single modality heavy day. Let's talk about a single modality gymnastics day. And I would love somebody in the comments, give us a single modality gymnastics workout that we should talk through lesson planning for. What should we do here? In the meantime, can you remember the last time at your affiliate that you did a single modality gymnastics day?
I cannot. Can you?
Think of I'm trying to go through my head and come up with something. Well, there's some classic CrossFit workouts. I was thinking of, can you remember, I want to say there's only been one single modality gymnastics open workout ever.
Yeah, and I remember it.
What was it?
It was 7-minute. Okay, really quickly, Brad did it, but in the chat, I just want to say, don't just throw out a movement. Put in what the workout
that's not a workout. Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Put in the workout. Make it up. It doesn't have to be a benchmark or anything. Just make it up. It's a workout. Okay. There's a lot of great movements in the chat, but only one workout so far. The open workout was 7-minute AMRAP of burpees. 7 minutes of burpees. Yeah, Vicente. And to make matters worse, it was to a target, and I don't remember the target. 6-inch target, 9-inch target.
Gosh,
what target it might as well have been. I don't really remember. But that workout was awful because that was when I was still dabbling with doing them more than once. And I did that workout for a second time with a completely different strategy. Because remember, people would do that workout and it's like, the more people that did it, the more strategies would come out. And then in your head, you're like, oh yeah, if I just do that in a different way, it's going to completely go like so much better. And I did it again and I got one more burpee.
that is one where it's like, it kind of is a pretty good test of your individual capacity.
Yeah,
like
right.
the feedback and pushback on like, that's not a good test in the overall scheme of finding the fittest on earth. I get that objection right there because it's so like the guy that won, like there was, I think 2 people that won it back then. I think Scott Panchek won, like tied this other guy that was Russian or European or international or whatever, that wasn't even really a CrossFitter. He just was really good at calisthenics. And I forget what he got. It was like 150 or something bananas like that. But yeah, this is crazy. All right.
But yeah, 7 minutes. That was the workout. We could easily roll through creating a lesson plan around that 7 minute of especially burpees, where that's such a low skill. It's like, how in the world are we going to spend an hour teaching 7 minutes of burpees?
We've got a ton of really good options here, but since you brought that up, I want you to talk us through 7 minutes of burpees.
Oh, goodness.
That's the one thing that we are going to do that day. What are we going to do?
What are we going to do? Well, my whiteboard brief is going to be about 10 minutes long. So there's that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm just going to waste time. I'm just going to fill this up. We're going to waste time.
Yeah. Right. Nothing's going to change off the gate, right? It's like, all right. We're going to put 10 minutes on the back end for the cool down for sure. Maybe even a little bit more. This might be a day where it's like, okay, we have a little bit extra time. I'm not going to go there yet though. So I'm just going to put 10 minutes on the back end. I'm going to put my 3 minutes on the front end for the whiteboard brief, and we'll do a general warm up. Well, actually, before I do that, it's like, okay, 3 minutes on the front end, 10 minutes on the back end. We know we need 7 minutes for the workout. On my plan, I'll probably just allot 10 minutes, even though it's a 7-minute AMRAP. And I know that seems weird, but I typically do that just to like account for any buffer. And it just helps me keep everything straight. So at that point, I'm like, all right, I know that I need to start the workout at the 40-minute mark, right?
All right. Yep. So start the workout at the 40-minute mark. And I'm with you there on this one. Although it's a 7-minute AMRAP, allotting 10 minutes, it gives you time. People are going to finish that thing. They're going to want to lay on the ground for 90 seconds and not get up. And then I also am going to want to get them up and maybe walk for 100 or 200 meters, like the cool down. So I'm with you on that. So, all right. So we've got 40 minutes. We're starting the workout at 40. So we've got from 40 down allotted. We've got 3 minutes on the front end. So what that means is that we've got 37 additional minutes to do a general warm up.
To teach the burpee.
I'm going to scrap the general warm up and we're going to teach the burpee for 37 minutes. No. All right. What do you got?
Yeah, I'll probably do a little bit longer of a general warm up than I usually do. And, maybe 8 to 10 minutes. And that's going to include, because the burpee is just full body, get on the ground, jump up, we're just likely going to do a lot of full body stuff, right? Like get the heart rate up a little bit, get the shoulders primed. I I'd have to think about what specific movements I do, but we're just going to maybe even something a little bit fun that I don't typically do. Maybe I'll throw in some sort of, maybe some wall balls or just something random that maybe we don't typically do in a general warm up. But regardless, I'll take, let's see, so about 13 minutes, let's call it. I'll be done with the general warm up.
Yeah, let's go all 13 minutes. Let's say you took 10 minutes for your general warm up.
Yeah.
So now you've got 27 minutes.
Yeah, that's a lot of time to cover the burpee. I'm just reading some of the comments here. This is where, as I'm making my lesson plan, I'd likely decide to put a little more time on the back end. I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I would add something else in. And I don't really want to. I want to work through it without adding something else in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And here's like, this is one of those days. Well, number one, this is one of those days where like adding a second element would be perfectly appropriate. And no one would be like, you guys missed the point. You should only do 7 minutes of burpees and that's all should be in class. Like that would be ludicrous for anybody to argue or say. But here are some things that we can consider and think about. And to your point, Cabo, it's like we've got a ton of time. I don't need to teach the burpee for 27 minutes and then have them do it for 7 minutes. But this is one of those days where I think we can really make a fun experience where it's like you look at 7 minutes of burpees and people are saying it here in the comments where it's like, maybe I don't show up that day. That doesn't sound very fun. But if you can convince your athletes to show up and then you make it really fun and you do so by potentially, like Kristin said, maybe we do a game for the general warm-up. Maybe this is the pizza delivery game or the PVC pipe game, or you get on the rower and you do rolling or double under poker. I mentioned that one the other day. We used to do it all the time. Not a lot of people do it nowadays, but you do something that's a little bit more fun. And maybe the general warm-up is 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. You've frozen for me.
It turns into a progression we're going over with this thing. But then also, this is probably a day in a workout where I would do this in 2 heats and I would partner people up. And so I would start the workout at 30 and because this is going to be valuable because it's going to allow somebody to count my reps. And you guys know as well as I do how dizzy you get and like ridiculous it gets to try to count your reps of this thing. Somebody else is going to count my reps. They're going to cheer me on to keep me motivated. Can you guys, I know I'm having some issues here. So Cabo.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm going to repeat a couple of things because I'm not quite sure if you said it or not, Todd. But yeah, I love this from Marlena and Todd saying the same thing. What an opportunity to set this up into 2 heats and have people count for each other. And then all that does is, now instead of 7 and 7 is going to be 14 minutes. That's 15, 16, 17 minutes with some transitions in between. It's still plenty of time to do a solid warm up for everybody on the front end. One thing I was thinking too, when it's like, I don't really want to add anything in here. What I'm mainly thinking of is I don't want to add a lift because it's like, I have all this time, I should add a lift, or I don't want to add like a second Metcon. But I certainly would be open to adding some skill work. I think there was something in here at one point. Yeah, Ahmet said maybe a little Tabata at the end with some core work. That would certainly be something that I would add in. Incorporating that skill work to the warm-up at the beginning is also something that could be cool. Let's see. Yeah, and then ultimately, I'm going to want at least I've kind of lost track of how much time I have left with the different options here, but I am going to want at least 10 minutes, I think, to cover the burpee. We're going to warm people up with it. I have a progression for the burpee. You can easily create a progression for the burpee, and it's going to get ahead of things like this, like the knee crawl up when they have the capacity to pop their hips up, or just thinking of all the common faults we tend to see, just making sure we're teaching them how to do it correctly. Another thing that drives me crazy is when people land with their feet really close up onto their toes, so we can teach that. Yeah, and so maybe it's just a positioning with the progression, right? Like everyone's going to put their hands on the ground and pop down onto the ground. And then you're going to peel your chest up. And then I'm going to say feet, and you're just going to pull your feet to replace where your hands are. And we're going to hold in that catch position. And so that allows us to create a static position in that hold where people then learn through repetition where to put their feet. So there's a lot of ways we can break that down a little bit in order to provide value there. The other thing I would want to think about doing is making sure I'm allotting time for a workout like that for everyone to find their spot and figure out what their target is, because that can actually take a little bit longer than we think that it could take, right? Let's see. Todd, are you back with me yet? All right. Cool. Let me read through a couple of the chats. I think we're having a little technical issue with Todd. No big deal. Accessory at the end. Yes, absolutely, says Vicente. And Brad. Grief burpees will be inevitable. Talk about the speed of the burpees. There's a step back, jump back, and up. Yeah, you can play with the different techniques. And this is also a fantastic workout to do a little test round. So that's also something we're going to have to add into that, because we want the heart rate to be up prior. We want to make sure the target is where we want it to be if we're doing burpees to a target. And to Marlena's point, and I believe Todd, was talking about it a little bit as well. If we're going to have people partner up and count for each other and do it in 2 different heats, then we just want to incorporate the logistics there to make sure that everyone's set with what they're doing. And so again, without adding all this time up, it can go pretty quickly when you start to incorporate a little accessory, cash out at the end. Maybe we run 2 heats of it. We go through progression with the burpees to make sure that we're coaching people into the right positioning. We do a quick test round before so that everybody knows exactly where they're going, what their target is. Let's see, a couple tips here. Mert's biggest tip on burpees is never rest on the ground. It's like using the stretch reflex to bounce. Yeah, so this is such an opportunity to, just like we talked about with the bikes, right? Like, give your people some coaching and some tips on a movement that we very, very rarely take the time to coach. The burpee is typically one of those things where it's like just fall down on the ground and pop back up. But there are ways that we can coach our athletes into better movement, especially when we start looking at all these things in here that you guys are talking about with the tips and the common faults you see and the different techniques we can do. So really, really good stuff. All right, team. Hopefully that was helpful to see how we can break down some of these monostructural workouts that we do, where, again, it's not necessarily that the monostructural workout is going to be a super short workout. We talked about the 5K at the beginning, the 400-meter runs. That takes the bulk of the class. So we don't have a tremendous amount of time to fill as far as the warm-up goes, but then it goes all the way to now we're doing a workout 7 minutes long, 1 movement, and that movement is pretty darn simple. And there's still a lot of really thoughtful strategies and thoughtful ways we can continue to provide our people with the best hour that we can and provide them with a lot of value, and just make that call on which workouts make sense to do a game for the warm-up or something longer, or a little bit of technique work or practice on something just to make it a little bit more fun. We very rarely see workouts where we probably run 2 heats where we partner people up and you get an opportunity to watch and cheer and count, other than the open. So there's definitely going to be times where that is the case. Yeah. So if there's no more questions, we're going to go ahead and close everything up. But I do want to remind you guys that Affiliate Con is coming October 24th to 26th in Dallas. We're going to be there. It's going to be 2 full days. We've talked about a little bit on some other calls, 2 full days of just all things CrossFit. We've got a bunch of really heavy hitters in the community that are going to come, and they're going to run activations. They're going to give talks. It's going to be pretty darn cool. So if you are interested in that, I think we can get the website up there. Yep, the website is in the chat for you guys to go to and check that out. And then we still have our offer going on with Affiliate U. If you sign up through, I believe it's August 31st, you can get a free credential, and you also will be entered into a raffle to get your affiliate dues paid for the entire year. So that's if you are interested in sign up for Affiliate U before the end of August, affiliate dues for the entire year. Pretty amazing. All right, team. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your contributions at the end there, Todd. Appreciate you.
I might be back. Here we go.
To see everybody as always.
All right. Good.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Thank you for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. Now, if you're a coach who wants to coach more effectively, impact your members, and advance your career, then the Knowledge Pro is the next step. Inside, you'll get hundreds of coaching videos, weekly calls with level 4 coaches, and direct feedback on your coaching. From homework reviews to full class breakdowns, we do it all. This is the best way to grow as a coach and take your skills to the next level. Now, you can join the Knowledge Pro at besthouroftheirday.com/the-knowledge. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. Now keep coaching, keep improving, and we'll see you next time.